Welcome to the Be a Better Parent podcast. I'm Celia Kibler, your host and founder of beabetterparent.com, the Day of Calm Foundation, and FunFit Family Fitness, and an award-winning author, mom of 5, grandma of 9, who has spent my entire life helping children thrive and helping parents build the empowered adults that we need in this world. You don't need to feel shame as a parent. You need to feel empowered and prepared. And that's exactly what this podcast is here to do. Every week, we'll dive into some simple, practical, powerful strategies to help you raise respectful, cooperative, fun-loving children, and do all of that without yelling. We'll also hear from some leading experts in a variety of fields that will support you and give your family the tools they need for everyday life, approaching all the stages and phases of your child's world. I'm so grateful you're here. Your commitment to being a better parent will truly change this world. So thank you for joining, and let's get started. Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Be a Better Parent podcast. I'm excited to talk about what we're talking about today because we're talking about dads and the importance of them being a part of the family and their children's lives. It is a game changer. And so today we welcome Dr. Ben, and he's here as a family physician for over 45 years, but he's since become a healer and is now a coach for men who want to up their game as husbands and fathers. He is the father of 8, the grandfather to many, and he's the author of A Real Man's Guide to Becoming a Terrific Dad. So welcome, Dr. Ben. We're glad to have you here with us today.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here.
Well, would you share a little bit about what transformed you from doctor, you're still a doctor, to a coach for dads? Like, where did that priority shift?
Many parts of that story. As a physician, my Ben was always trying to find ways to heal patients. Now, every doctor struggles with the same thing. All doctors across the board. Why do patients keep sabotaging their health? They don't eat right, don't take your vitamins, don't exercise, don't get rest. We sabotage our lives oftentimes. Prosperity, love, relationships, health. We sabotage ourselves so much. And that's always kind of play. Why do people keep sabotaging? I treat them, they do very well, and it just wouldn't stick. They keep falling back to the same old patterns. And we all do it to some degree or another. We all somehow sabotage ourselves. So there's a long story how I got to moving into Israel. But when I was there, I would hang out with some kids. I like young people, older teens, young people, and start talking. A lot of them misanthropic kids, for whatever reason. And I started talking to them. Some were criminals. All kinds of people were there. And I'm talking to them. And after speaking with them for a while, get to know them, come to find out there was a common denominator amongst these kids. And the common denominator was a poor relationship with their father. Father wasn't showing up. Well, maybe they're divorced. Maybe he's out to lunch. He doesn't ignores the kids. Maybe he's obsessed with his own issues. Maybe God forbid he's dead. Something is, but he's not there. For whatever reason, he's not there. And notice the pattern. There's a pattern in those kids that was so consistent. I began asking kids to tell me, did your father ever hug you? And almost always the answer was the same. No. Now, along with this, my daughter brought some friends with her one time and to visit with us for a bit. And my daughter walks and I give my daughter a big hug and a kiss and say hi to her. And her friend says to her, your father hugs you? And she said, of course. We're talking later on. She said, my father never hugs me. We're talking later on. And she says, we're talking, and she said, when I come home, my father looks at me, sits down next to me, looks me in the eyes, gives me full attention, we talk, and we share, but never touches me. So now what happened next? I told you before, what happened next actually was still surprising me. her response was, "What's wrong with me? My father won't touch me."
Right. That's so many kids. They blame themselves.
Right.
They take that to heart. There
I think it's
must
more
be a problem with me.
I think it's more common in girls and boys, but it's probably universal to some degree. And of course, she tried to fill that void with compulsive overeating, other issues she has, and a very nice girl, but her child is suffering. And then I started looking, putting the pieces together, what's going on. And I come to realize that all the medicine healing, it works for a good while. And I became a healer and did some really, really cool things. I loved it. But the real healing had to be the emotional part, because there's a subconscious self-loathing brought about by this dysfunctional relationship with fathers, with their dads, that they just can't feel good about themselves to take care of themselves properly. Yeah, we got things are hard to do, and we all have a hard time breaking past that barrier, but really that subconscious self-loathing is what's really driving people to destroy their lives in some form or another. So I set out to start coaching. I started working with these kids, and a lot of the kids had major turnarounds. It was amazing. After a while, and some of these were really tough kids, a lot of immigrants and so forth. And these boys would line up for a hug, for a 1 minute, 2 minute hug. They'd line up for a hug. They said they wait all week long for that hug.
And they don't always let go right away.
They didn't let go right away. No, they didn't want to let go. And some held them for a long time.
Yeah, it's so important, and it's happens with kids so much in any missing parent. Like when a parent is missing, because in the world, kids know there's a mom and a dad. Well, I only have a mom. What's wrong with me that my dad doesn't want to be around me?
Right.
They always absorb that. Even in like divorce situations, what's wrong with me? What did I do wrong? Why are my parents separating? Why are they getting divorced? And it's very hard for them then to build confidence that they need in the world without that father figure, because they're always doubting themselves. And the father figure is very important for building confidence and for learning from. Kids learn a lot from their dads.
Yeah.
And it's important that they're there.
It takes a man to make a boy into a man. A woman cannot make a boy into a man.
Right.
And so I tell the guys, listen, you got to direct your sons and protect your daughters. A daughter unprotected by her father, we all know what happens to those girls. It's never a good thing.
Right.
And so, I got into it, talking other guys, more men, and the more I got into it, it began to snowball, the significance of how important us dads are. And now, then the problem is, now we got a problem because society says, a lot of women say men are superfluous. Fathers, no, who needs them? Who needs them? And there's an attitude issue. Oh my gosh, that attitude issue, that's the real killer, the attitude issue in society. And the fact that men are a barrier to women's happiness, that's a killer.
Yeah.
Now we can go talk about the relationship between husbands and wives, how it impacts the kids and so forth. That's a very deep topic.
Yeah. Well, and a lot of it is too, like you mentioned, men and women treat children overall differently as far as the way they approach children. And, I would say how resilience is so important for kids, so important as a life quality to be resilient, because that's what helps you recover from trauma is resilience, your ability to bounce back. And if a dad is absent, because a mother will tend to save a child. They're missing something. They didn't bring in their homework. They didn't have lunch. Something happened. They'll go rescue them. Whereas dad will more so allow the child to take whatever happens and deal with it. And that is what builds resilience.
That's right.
So missing that factor in your life makes that child not as capable as they grow into adulthood.
100%, bingo, 100% right. Yeah, us guys will say, okay, suck it up, keep moving.
Right,
Get out
right.
and play ball. Oh, you hurt yourself, fine. It's only broken a little bit, not that bad.
Right. It's only
walk it off, walk it
in the
off.
wrong direction.
Right.
But it's
But
true.
no, take a sprained ankle. Take a sprained ankle. Kid sprains an ankle. Oh my gosh, my poor kid, I'm going, rest it, put some ice in it. Father says, walk it off.
Right.
You know, it
Right.
does work. By the way, never rest a sprained ankle, always walk it off.
Yeah.
Walk it off. Anyway, and so, yeah, but that's right. That's a difference. Men will say, you know, that's it. Let them fall. Get back up again. If you
Exactly.
don't let a kid fall, they never learn how to get back up.
Right.
So,
You've got to let them fall. You've got to, that's the whole thing. They got to be able to bounce back. They've got to be able to not take something that disappointed them or they failed at, or they made a mistake with as the end of the world. Because not. It's just part
it's
of
not.
life, just part of being human, you know, and guys will also, like when you think of a little kid, you think of the mother and the father. The mother is the one that's like coddling and and comforting, and not that guys don't comfort, but guys are like the roughhousers. Okay, now we're going to wrestle, and now we're going to do this,
That's
and the kids need that.
right.
Kids
Well, you
need
know,
to have that
this
playfulness, that
society has changed.
freedom.
A lot of men do not roughhouse their kids. I got to teach them how to roughhouse their kids. And it's important. You need to
It
roughhouse the
is.
kids. And you can tell, it's so funny, you know, like at my grandkids, I'll just kind of, you know, roughhouse and bang around with them and so forth. I do with the girls, they look, what's up with that? The boys are smiling ear to ear. They're loving it.
Yeah.
Boys
They
love it.
need it. It's necessary. It's necessary to test your own limitations, your own abilities, not like come out of your comfort zone. Roughhousing is a matter of coming out of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
You know, it's just most fathers need to learn that you just don't stop. You just don't be like, now we're done. The kid's all riled up and now we're done, because then that causes its own issues. But kids need that person that isn't always so sweet and, you know, nurturing to them. They need that person that treats them a little more like a man, a little more like a big kid, you know, gives them more responsibility. And they need that for growth and development. They, you know,
So, so now in your experience, why do you think so many men fail as being standing up as a man, roughhousing the kids, making decisions, being the rock of the family? Why do you think so many men fail at that? Why do you think that is?
fail at not being successful or not thinking they're important in their house.
Not standing up as a man in the family, as the rock for their kids and their wives to lean on. Why do you think so many men fail in that?
I think a lot of men don't have an example. I think society in a whole is so critical of parents now, and there's too much information and a lot of not correct information that's spewed out there. And so they read things, well, I shouldn't be like this, or I shouldn't be like this, or I shouldn't be like this. But what's important about a dad, in my opinion, and I had a dad like this, gratefully, is that my dad always had our back. Always. No matter what he was going through, no matter what was happening, he had our back. Whether we were right or wrong, he still stood by us. You know, and I think there's too much questioning in society, like, am I doing this right? Should I be doing this? Should I, you know, am I not being gentle enough? Am I not being this enough? You know, and I am against, you know, yelling and screaming and hitting, because I'm all about respect, and that is never respectful. You can't raise a person respectfully by disrespecting them. And but I think there's so much doubt put in society of how people are doing things, and they're ridiculed and they're made fun of, and people make reels and look at this wimp, or look at this, you know, that I think they very often, dads and even moms, don't know if they're doing it right. There's so much question.
I've seen a lot of the role model. I think is very important, right? Because role models for men, you know, as a kid, we had different kind of role models: the John Waynes, Roy Rogers, James Bonds, and not I wouldn't call them all righteous people I want to follow in their footsteps, but there was a certain sense of dignity and strength men would have. Never had to punch anybody in the face to, you know, do that stuff. But there's a certain amount of what's the right word for it? Not propriety. I guess manliness, I can think of a word for it, that we grew up that kind of role models. Nowadays, we don't have that so much. And play nice, be nice, be nice. But boys need to rough out, rustle, like for instance, I'll give you an example. There's an interesting old adage, girls whine, boys fight. Get two boys together, and within 15 minutes they're wrestling and fighting each other. Why? That's what boys do. That's natural for them to do that kind of stuff.
Right.
And so, mother, no, don't fight. But that's what they do. That's what boys do, and it's healthy. It's normal, healthy behavior in the right scenario. I mean, not pulling knives, but we're having fun.
Right. Right.
Boys do. And so the role model. That's one thing. When writing my book about being a terrific dad, I had to think about what are the steps we need to create the men that will be the great father, not perfect dads, but terrific dads for their kids. And the first step is understanding a man has to be respectable, respectful and respectable. If you're not you're not walking your talk. There's no one to respect. You can't. Right. It's hard to be around someone who's like passive aggressive or, maybe I don't know. What do you think? It doesn't. You can't respect a man like that.
Right.
Step one is being respectable. Then you have to have discipline. You got to have how to be loving. You have what are your values? Consistency. You have all these things in line. And the book is actually designed to take a man through the steps to developing his character. And in so doing, the kids follow suit.
Yeah.
Your boys are going to follow suit, and the girl's going to feel, wow, that's what a man looks like. See, when a girl grows up with a father who is dysfunctional, whatever reason it is, guess what her role models from husband's going to be like?
Just like dad.
That's right.
Yeah.
And that's they end up
Absolutely.
getting abusive relations.
Right.
And the boys grow up not knowing they think doing those things makes them into a man, and it's not
right.
true.
Makes them a man. Exactly. And a good man allows for being emotional, allows for being compassionate, you don't have to be tough to be a good man, but there are certain things that you have to be tough at. You have to be able to stand up for your children. You have to be able to show them, the respect you have for yourself, like you said, the respect you have for others, but also understand the emotional intelligence that's required to, go through life. That's, gives you the ability to deal with disappointment, to deal with things that don't go right, and not rage and throw things and hit people and, do that, have that emotional control. I think that's important for men too, because a lot of times people think, oh, men are just going to, they're mad, they're going to blow up at the world. And that doesn't make a man.
Two things you mentioned I'm going to talk about. First of all, is losing your temper. I grew up, my dad was a rageaholic. And I swore at a certain age I will never lose my temper. Now, my kids, by the way, I got to forewarn you, kids are hardwired for two things. One, is to push a parent's button as long and hard and often as possible. That's number one. Number two, they take our flaws and magnify them to the absurd.
Good example.
And so their kids would like to try to push you to them. And my kid, they tried, they didn't succeed. Well, some got pretty close. Someone got pretty close, but it's very hard. The kids can they love pushing that button. It's how far I can go.
Well, and it's part of the parent understanding.
Yeah. Now, the other part is
there's other ways to handle this and not allowing them to push their buttons.
Right. You have to know when it's being pushed. You have to know when to walk away. Right.
Exactly.
Right. That's, by the way, much easier said than done. As a father of 8, I will tell you, some of those kids were really good at pushing those buttons, sneaky little things.
But that's what I teach. That's why I help.
How to push buttons?
How to not allow that to go on.
That's great. I want to hear about that in a second. But the other thing I'll talk about men being tough. And actually, men do need to be tough. There has to be a certain toughness. Do the hard stuff. Don't be afraid. Face your fears.
Yeah.
Life is full of courage.
Step out of your comfort zone.
Out of your comfort zone. And courage. A man's primary thing is courage. Face life with courage. Can't, oh no, it's so hard. Nope, I don't want to hear that. Rothstein's rule number 1, men don't whine. Number 2, men do the tough stuff. And 3, take full responsibility of what happens in our lives. We have to take responsibility and not be defensive But what we've done, okay, yeah, I made a mistake. I did this. I own it.
Right.
And you gotta be, it's hard. That's tough. It's tough to
It
do.
is tough.
And
But we
so,
want people to take personal responsibility as they grow up.
right. And
It's
you got to
yours to
demonstrate it.
take, not somebody else's.
Right. You got to, and you got it's, yeah, it's rough. You got to work at it. And it's amazing because people really, when someone admits to his wrongdoings or takes responsibility or doesn't get defensive, yeah, I made a mistake. I did wrong. What do you think about that person? Do you think, oh man, that guy's a loser?
No, that person, I think that takes strength.
That's exactly right. Exactly right. It shows strength
Right.
and courage when you take responsibility and admit it.
Yep.
You know, and it's, we have this thing going on now in the political, Dr. Fauci and in the congressional hearings and refusing to answer questions. That's cowardice.
Yeah.
Where's your courage?
Yeah. You
Where's
have
your
to,
courage?
what you believe, speak up. I
Right.
mean, it's not going to be what everybody else's believe, but if you believe in it, say it,
Say it.
you know.
Right.
And it's like when I talk about calm and how I'm so passionate about people learning to stay calm. And people think, you see it all over the internet. Calm. Oh, this guy's calm. They're soft. This woman's soft. You need to smack that kid or you need to do anything. But calm, again, takes strength to be calm, to live a calm life, to be, to react to things in a calm way is leadership. You're teaching other people to react the same way. You don't have to rage like your father did. You don't have to do that. You can understand that, I can handle this calmly. I don't have to shout, scream, hit, whatever. And you're leading when you're doing that.
There's a phrase in the osteopathic world of healers, commensurate with the stillness is the power of the storm. Your stillness, your calm, your focus, your clarity gives tremendous power around you, and it's effortless.
Yep.
It's very, very powerful. By the way, would you mind sharing? I'm curious. How do you teach? What do you tell parents to do when kids are pushing their buttons?
Well, first of all, a lot of things that kids do, the thing to remember is what kids are doing is often their inability to express themselves or explain the way they're feeling because, our brains develop at 25. But depending on what's going on, like if you want a child to cooperate or you want a child to leave a park when you say, we often will tell a child, do this at this moment. I want them to do what I say to do the moment I tell them to do it. And I always give the example of like you're on the phone and your child's like, mommy, mommy, daddy, daddy, daddy. And you're like, wait, I'm on the phone. I will talk to you after I get off the phone. That is the typical response. Go play. Except when you do the same to a child and you say, stop playing, time to take a bath, it's the same disrespect. Exactly the same. You expect them to stop what they're doing at the moment you said it and go do something. And the truth is, it's the same disrespect. So what you should be doing is offering that child and say, I see her playing. It's almost time for a bath. Would you like 2 or 3 more minutes? Now, people will argue with this, but what that does is it now empowers your child to choose when they stop playing,
Right.
even though
Actually,
you are the author of the time. I will stop in 3 minutes. Okay, what are you going to do in 3 minutes? I'm going to stop playing, go take a bath. Set an alarm, leave it with your child. Don't take it with you. Leave it with your child. And you know what happens when that alarm goes off? That child stops playing and does what they do because they take ownership and they take responsibility and you teach integrity. You said you're going to do this, you do it. And people don't believe it until they do it. I had a mom just do this with one of her kids. She's like, it was amazing. She left a play date and it was like tantrum city. And the next day we had a play date. I told her exact because it's one of my formulas, my 10-minute formulas. So watch this, do exactly what I said. And she said that child said goodbye to her friend, put on her shoes, and walked over to her mother and said, Mom, time to go. No tantrum like the day before, because it teaches respect. And when it's the same thing when you ask over and over again. I asked my child to stop playing the video game and come down for dinner. Why do they keep doing this? They know I'm getting madder and madder and madder. And the problem is when I ask parents, why are you yelling? And they'll go, well, I asked real nicely. I start out nice. I use my manners and I ask them to stop playing. And then 5 minutes later, I go, if they're still playing. And I ask them again. And they go 5 minutes later and stop playing. The problem is not the yelling that you eventually get to after asking them the fifth time. The problem is you're asking them 5 times to do something. Ask one time, another formula I teach. One time, turn off that video game. Come to dinner, please. You go back up there 5 minutes later, they're still playing. Guess what's on the video game? A button. You push the button, the video game is off. Now come to dinner. And parents will go, well, they'll cry. Well, so what? They'll cry. They'll get over it. Life goes on. They'll come to dinner. You go to dinner. Everybody goes to dinner. You can walk away with the video game console if you want. Why? Because it's portable. Do whatever you want, but stop asking.
Right.
They are pushing your buttons half the time because you're letting them push your buttons.
Yeah, I actually thought about that in my book, actually, about 5-minute warnings. It's ahead of time, it's 5 o'clock with this, and at 5:05, okay, in 5 minutes, it's 5 o'clock, time for this, and then.
The choice is much better, though,
Yeah, I
because
like that. I
the
like that
warning
idea.
tells the transitional choice, would you like 1 or 2 more minutes, actually empowers them
I
to
like it a
choose
lot.
when to stop.
I like that. I like that.
It's one of
Very
my
good.
10-minute formulas.
Cool.
I call it the transition formula because it will always transition them from one place. I was talking to my grandson, and my grandson, we were at the beach, and I said to him, "Oh, honey, we've got to go. Turn off your tablet." And he's like, "Okay, a little bit." And as soon as I said it, I was like, "Whoops, choice." And he's used to me giving a choice. I said, "Brooks, do you want 1 or 2 more minutes to play? Sorry." He goes, 2 minutes. I said, okay, I'll set a timer. I'll put it by you. Because he's used, because I've been doing it with him forever.
Right.
That timer went off. I was in the kitchen. By the time I walked in, headphones wrapped up, TV turned off, game put away. He's in and ready to go.
I love it.
Didn't
Love
have to say a thing. Because they choose. And then they learn, and you're teaching responsibility and integrity. Like, how do you teach a kid about integrity? Right there is a perfect way. They say they're going to do something, they do it. And if they don't do it, consequence. If they don't do it, guess what? You don't get that tablet for 24 hours or whatever it is. Then there's a consequence where there's also a formula for the consequence. But it's, it is a matter of following through, but also empowering your children when things are negotiable. Not everything's negotiable. So it doesn't get a choice. Going to school, not negotiable. You're going to school.
Right. So so one of the things I find very important is being clear on your values.
Yes,
And now
100%.
the problem comes in if the man's values, the husband's values, and the wife's values are not the same. How do you negotiate 2 separate values? A person may value saving money, other may value spending money. A person may value eating healthy, other person may value eating fun.
100%.
So if you don't have a agreement on the values, that causes, but see, it's okay to have disagreements. I think disagreements are healthy to have in front of kids. Because
Yes.
it shows how to negotiate, how to work things out, how to work.
Correct.
Now, raising your voice and yelling, that's never a way of dealing with it. Throwing things, that's ridiculous.
Right. Always
and,
makes things worse.
makes
And
it
achieves
worse.
nothing. Nothing gets accomplished.
Right, but if you have a disagreement, you're supposed to disagree with different people.
Correct.
Man, woman, you're
The
supposed
world
to
needs to
disagree.
realize that.
Right.
You
You're
can
suppo-
disagree with people.
Right. And it's important disagreement, how to handle disagreement, how to okay, we disagree. Okay, fine. It doesn't mean you're wrong. It's just disagree with you.
Right.
And so, and when kids see parents negotiate something, go through an issue, they may get upset about it, but they see a loving negotiation and the resolution. Wow, what a great lesson to show kids. What a great lesson.
Right. I 100% agree. It's like I'll tell parents when your kids are fighting with each other, don't just jump in. I mean, if there's blood, maybe jump in. Maybe, if there's actual like pain and suffering happening. But if they're just having an argument, give them a chance to work it out. Give them a chance to problem solve and, like you say, resolve conflict.
Right.
They need to learn how. And no better way to learn how than in the minute when it's happening.
Well, actually, I would question that. Actually, I'm going to put a question mark on that,
Okay.
because if you don't
See, we're
know
allowed
how,
to do that.
if you're not trained to resolve conflict, how can you figure it out?
So
So I would
brings
suggest
in, go ahead.
I would suggest that if kids are having arguments, so hold it. Now, when the arguments, whatever taking part, whatever it's going to be, let's practice how to handle an argument. What are most arguments about? Well, usually I don't feel understood or heard.
Correct.
And maybe you don't feel heard and understood. Now, what if I heard you and repeated back what you said? You heard me repeat back what I said. Now, how would you feel now about the disagreement? We still disagree? Okay, you still disagree, but you understand the person's perspective. I do. Now, if you were them, what would you be thinking? And there may be right and wrong involved, maybe right and wrong, but at least have an idea, a tool to deal with stuff, and then how to to resolve it. Then when it really happens, like I'm very big in rehearsals. Big in rehearsal. I got this in medical school training, and I was also in the Army for 3 years. You rehearse things, rehearse before it happens. Like having a patient having a code in the hospital, they're trying to die. You got how to do who does what, and ding, 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 and you work like without even thinking, just automatic reflexly go into it. Or in the military, we're training for certain types of escape attacks, or what happens, how do you do it? What do you do automatically? To this day, it's now been, it's 19, I mean, now I'm 1986, so 40 years later, I hear or see certain things, I automatically still look for, where's my gas mask? I look for things to handle it. It's still but you're rehearsing these things, right? You're rehearsing.
Right. Right.
And so once you rehearse, rehearsals give you the power and the tools to deal with whatever comes your way, and then to experiment on other things. Else works.
Yeah. And I think, but I do think part of that, I think, is absolutely valuable to guide a child in, problem resolution and, figuring out conflict and things like that. But I also think there is a certain gift in seeing if they can do it themselves. Something simple, like sometimes it's like, I want this truck, you got it, give it to me. Cause like, how can you work that out? You have one red truck, the other one's yellow, both of you want the red one. How can you work it out? And then see if they can. And if they can't, then absolutely intervene and talk about it. Don't yell at them. Don't, try to see if they can figure it out and learn how to problem solve, because that is life lessons. Those are things we are, as parents, are meant to teach our children. We are the coaches, the teachers.
By the way, you touched me on something very profound. You may not have realized it. When a parent forces a child to share something, which means giving up what they have, they actually create in that child insecurity. And I just read a study about that recently. I wish I remember right, but the whole idea was showing that children who are forced to give later on are a lot less likely to be generous.
Right. Well, you
Because
take their power away.
and you take the things away. They're only a
Right.
child. They're only
They
3,
don't.
4, 5 years old. The kids, the babies, and they can't understand what it mean. It's gone. No, it's not.
Right. Well, and sharing is an act of compassion, and compassion is one of the rare emotions that we're not born with.
Right.
So that's why sharing doesn't become natural, because you have to be compassionate. You have to be like, oh, I have this toy. Now this little boy would like this toy. But they're all about themselves. The world revolves around a child when a child is born. They learn about community and family. That's their first introduction to community. But so if you're not giving them the chance to even understand sharing, you just take it, oh, you need to share this. Boom.
Yeah,
First
that's
of
right.
all, you're probably grabbing from them. So now you're not just teaching them how to share, you're teaching them how to grab.
That's right.
And it all comes down to respect. Everything comes down to respect. I'm all about respect. And you're not being respectful. You're not giving this child a chance to understand why
Right.
they should be generous.
So now you mentioned that it's another button you pushed. And chapter 9 of my book, written by my wife, it was
Oh, really?
called To Wives. What's the wife's job? What is her responsibility in having a husband who's a terrific dad, a terrific husband? What's her role to play in that? Women have tremendous power, tremendous role to play in that. And they don't realize how much they can build a guy up or
Tear them
tear him
down.
down.
Yeah.
And what comes out, the most important thing that men need, women are often reticent to give to the husband, is
Respect.
respect.
Yeah.
They correct him. That's not right.
And they correct him in front of children,
In front of other
which
people.
then takes his power away for children. Then you take away his authority.
Yeah, bingo.
I tell
Did you read my,
parents all
did you
the
read my
time,
chapter? Did you read my chapter? How'd you do that? How do you know this?
because we're very smart people. But that's the thing. I tell parents all the time, do not, if you don't agree with something that's being laid down, a consequence or something like that, I mean, as long as there's not an imminent danger, do not criticize that person at that moment because you take away their authority. Now that dad has zero authority for their kids because you just said, nope, your dad's wrong. You have to listen to me.
That's right. Exactly right. Exactly right. And you have men become undermined subtly. Corrections, suggestions.
Correct.
Why? How about this? Why don't you do like that? How about like this? And meanwhile, the guys feel like they can't do anything right. And after a while, they quit
Yeah.
and they retreat
Why
and
bother?
become. And you know, a lot of women say have this phrase. I heard this before in women. They'll say, "I got 3 kids. 2 I gave birth to. 1 I married."
Yeah. Oh,
Right.
yeah. Women say it all the time.
Right.
When,
Now here,
and I always say, like, and women that talk about their husbands to other people, oh, he's a pain in the neck and whatever he says. I'm like, you married this guy. This is a poor reflection on you if you are putting your husband down to other people. You should
you
always be lifting him up.
know the joke that men tell?
But do I
If a
know it? I
man
don't
is
know.
alone in the forest and he states, and no one hears him, and his wife doesn't hear him, he states his opinion, is he still wrong?
It's a good joke.
And
But
so,
that's the thing.
that's right. Now, let me tell you, I'm going to tell you something interesting. Might I put a little spirituality into this conversation? There's a little bit mysticism about the structure of the soul. The souls have, every soul has 10 levels to the soul, 10 aspects to the soul. Women have 2 that men do not have. The one they have is called Bina Sero. Actually, it means deep understanding. Also, is a mama bear attribute. She also has a level called queenship. And the mama bear is necessary because this level of Bina Sero, this deep understanding, allows you to navigate, work with the kids and family, manage this, manage that, take care of this, and then someone's got a cold, this got a school, and they got clothing, and the shopping, and the cooking, and a very complex job being a mother. It's a very complex job, totally unappreciated, but a very complex job. And but she has to manage all these things, manage, and she's doing all this stuff. But when her husband comes home, she's in the mama bear mode. What'd you make him? What does he become now? Another child,
Another job. Right.
right? Because she doesn't leave that mama bear status. Now, the woman's other power she has, which the most magnificent power woman has, queenship, malchus. Queenship, the queen, of course, the queen needs to have a king. And the queen receives graciously and enables and empowers people tremendously. So what happens is when the queenship, you got a teaching situation, teacher, student. Who is more important to making that relationship work, the teacher or the student? Who's more important?
To make the relationship work, the
Yeah,
teacher,
actually, student.
the student.
Because the student wants to learn.
But
Student,
but the teacher has to allow the student
well, the student
to
has no
have the,
questions. Student doesn't want to learn. After a while, how well do you
well,
teach?
that's true. That's true. But
Yeah.
some teachers, the teacher has to have the power of understanding and communication and not
Granted,
control.
granted. 100%,
That's
granted.
what I was thinking of.
I hear that. But if giving a good teacher, if a teacher has a class people don't want to learn, I don't want to teach. But sometimes I want to have an interest in learning, hearing from you. I want to hear what you got to say. Like you told me some good things tonight. I really appreciate that. I want to hear things from you. How do you feel about giving over more? You feel empowered, enthusiastic, right? You're more interested to do more. And so in the relationship, when the woman becomes the queen, she receives, they call them a kabbalah, she receives, husband now gives, and he steps up to the plate. She becomes more responsible. If she's doing things and correcting him all the time, doing things for him, why bother even trying?
Right.
I'm going to get it wrong anyway. Why bother trying?
Right.
But she receives graciously and shows appreciation and respect. What happens to her husband? He becomes a king.
Right.
A king. And when the kids see a queen and a king in their home, how do they feel? What do they become? How empowered are they? How protected? How happy? How healthy are they? Now, I know it's not all the time.
Future relationships reflect
Future relationships, that's right. And they pick better people because they grow up around better people.
Correct.
Right?
And
so
they
now when the
respect
woman
themselves more.
100%, bingo. And so the woman shows up as a queen to her husband, not a combatant, not trying to vie for authority.
Right.
She respects him. He has no choice. He has to step up. All men do. All right, there's some guys who will take advantage. Okay, forget the whack jobs. They're probably addicts, whatever it is.
For the most part.
But for the most part, men will step
Right.
up, and all of a sudden, the guy's more responsible. He's more loving. He's more caring. Everything blossoms.
Everything, right. The connection happens.
And so, if you want to have a man you can respect him and become more respectable.
Right. I agree. And it's transferable to children.
100%.
If you are always criticizing a child, they will actually grow up feeling incapable.
Right.
Because, well, why should, like, even people that are like, why are you so lazy? Is the child always lazy? No. But if you constantly call them lazy, they will become lazy. Why should I do anything? They're just going to think I'm lazy. Why should I tell the truth? They're just going to think I'm liars. You know, and even with the effort that they make, they clean up a bedroom. And I always tell parents, leave the but out of it. Because they will walk in, they'll go, oh, good job cleaning a bedroom, but you missed that shirt over there in the corner. Well, now you have just turned that appreciation, that compliment into criticism. Now this kid's like, oh, I worked so hard cleaning my bedroom. All they notice is that one shirt that I missed.
Yeah. And actually, one of my daughters told me about that with her own kids. And she thought she was helping them do a better job and coaching them better, But she found out the kids stopped trying entirely. I'm not going to write any. We're going to correct it anyways. What's the point?
Right. If I can't do it right, why do it? It's like I tell parents, go, then what should you do? I'm like, well, clean up with them and talk while you're cleaning up. Walk around. Oh, as if you're dusting a table, let them dust the top and you dust the legs and talk about, oh, I really like to get into these corners and stuff.
Wait, hold on. That's correcting.
Anything.
That's correcting.
Not if you're talking about what you're doing.
Maybe.
I like to clean these legs. I like to get in these curves. They're only listening to you talking about what you're doing. You're not saying, don't forget to clean these legs. You're saying, oh, I love getting these legs. They got all these nooks and crannies and I get in them really good. And you're just talking your way through what you're doing. You're not talking to them. You're not talking at them. You're just talking about what you're doing and they will hear it. So if you want to be more informative and don't fix after it, if they do something and like they missed a spot, let the spot be missed. Let them go to bed and then dust it later. Or, don't be like, oh, you missed the spot. Who cares?
Right.
The effort. And that goes back to celebrating effort. And that goes back to the relationship between man and woman. Be appreciative.
Right.
Be appreciative of your partner.
Yeah,
whatever effort they make, be appreciative.
Now, I'll tell you something interesting as far as cleaning rooms. You know what I tell people to do and work well for us also? Clean the room yourself and take a picture. Take a picture. this is what it should look like when you're done.
Right.
Look
So
like
they
this.
have an expectation, 100%.
Right.
So
Right.
they
And
have
the
an
pictures made a
expectation.
huge difference. Here's what the counters, here, the table. By the way, some of the most important things kids should do to ensure success later in life? And when you're touching, you're going to say, of course I know that. They should have assigned chores.
Oh, yeah.
Chores every day. You live here, you have chores to do.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Dishes, set the
From the
table.
time they're 2 years old.
Right.
They should be helping you. Parents are like, I don't have enough time to spend one-on-one time with my kids. Well, one-on-one time isn't just playing. Laundry day is Wednesday night. Everybody's doing laundry. Let's get that. Even your 2-year-old can fold a washcloth or underwear.
Well, now I see that. We find that a little bit. We find that kids have a chore to do. They do on their own, and you inspect afterwards, make sure it's done well. It's a chore. It's just different level. So if they have a
as long
chore
as
to
they know
do,
the expectation, like you said,
Right.
take a picture.
That's
You know,
right.
you know what I used to do I had a kids gym, and I used to take the teenagers into the bathroom, and I would do the toilet test, and I'd be like, okay, sit on the toilet, and they'd sit on the toilet, and I'm like, okay, now tell me what you see. Look all around. Tell me what you did. They're like, well, this corner is really dirty, and this is really dirty, and this is really dirty. I'm like, right. So when you clean this bathroom, I want you to do the toilet test, because that mom
That is really
is
funny.
sitting on that toilet going, oh my gosh, look how dirty this place is.
That is really funny. That is funny. I didn't like that. Toilet test.
Toilet test. Sit on there and check out everything. That's what our customers are seeing.
See
So,
what you think. Yeah.
but you know how people clean toilets in public restrooms? They like mop a circle, and all the corners are like disgusting. It's like, get in those corners.
Actually, when I was in practice, I would actually sit in my waiting room and see what my patients see. Sit in the waiting
Right.
room. What do the patients look like? And I would say, it's nice. And I said, ooh, yuck. Got to fix
Yeah.
this up. Yeah.
It's
some
good to
people-
put yourself in that other position. Same with your kids. Same with your husband. Put yourself in his position, and stop being so critical. Because that's the other problem: is women will tend to parent their husbands. You are not their parent. You're their partner.
Right.
And if you're always parenting them and telling them what to do and talking to them like a child,
He has no choice. But
Right.
if you're the queen, you're his queen, how you talk to the king.
right? You stand at his side. You respect him.
Right.
You give him certain, unalienable rights. What is that?
Right. And
You
so
know.
the respect and then it's amazing how much power women have to cultivate men's strength. And the kids want to see a strong father. Men have to be strong.
Right.
If I make sure you guys exercise regularly. Men's got to be strong, fit to some degree. When we see a man's strength, not just physically, but a man's strength of being, and if he cultivates that, then the kids, it's a wonderful sense of security. When, okay, dad says this, and mom's not going to change the. Well, imagine that, even though you
Right.
heard this one, dad says one thing, mom says another thing. Well, as mommy said,
Right.
Daddy
Then
said,
it goes
right?
back. Then it's like,
Goes back and forth.
if you say no, I'm going to go ask her.
Right.
She'll say yes. Yeah, you can't
Nuh-uh.
do stuff like that.
Better not do that.
And strong doesn't mean you punch somebody. Like, strong doesn't mean I'm the strong man, so you don't listen to me. Boom, knock you out. Strong means standing to your belief, being a person of integrity, having respect and trust in other people, and demanding respect and trust for yourself. We all deserve to be respected.
Yep. 100%,
Everyone's
100%.
worthy of respect.
And that's a person's strength. That's the journey. We've covered a lot of stuff today, a lot of stuff, and
This is a good
I'm
lesson.
really
I hope
I'm hardened by how
you
much
guys are listening.
I'm hardened by how much you understand so deeply about how much, but the journey of becoming a man and a husband and a father, what's all involved in the dynamic and the journey. Some tough issue with talking to some guys is if their wife has a personality disorder, borderline, he or she, someone's a narcissist, whatever's going on, the latest, throwaway terms. But a person has a disorder, is it this disorder or is the fact they just don't know any better?
Right.
They don't know how to behave. They think this way is supposed to do it. That's why I do it this way, but they
Right.
don't realize
Well, and
that they're
that comes
sabotaging
learning
themselves.
from generations. I mean, it's like
Right.
when I ask parents why they yell at their kids, I usually get two answers. One is, I don't know any other way. And that means they've never seen any other way. So you can't fault them. They can learn another way. There is another way to talk to your child without screaming and yelling, but they've never known that. So how would they know? The other one is, like we discussed before, I ask them nicely 5 times and then I start yelling and then they move because they only listen when I yell. No, they only listen because that's when you're serious. You're not serious the first 5 times.
Yeah. When I ask, I would ask once. I
Thumbs
say
up.
1, 2. When I hit 2, they better be at a full run. They're moving. When I said 2 because the consequence is coming. I never back down to consequence.
Right.
When I count to 3, the consequence is happening. And I started, this begins at a
You're
child
more
around the age of
generous than
2.
I am. I give people 2. I'm like, I'll give you 2 times, but I won't give you more than 2.
Right. So, but I start discipline at the age of 2 years of age. I start training them to listen because they need to learn to listen to the father. Otherwise, and it's about, and you know what? You want to have a happy family when the kids are disciplined. Kids are having, it doesn't mean being disciplined means guided, directed, have, behavior, traits that are easy to be around. They listen. And
Right.
when you have that, it's a pleasure. All right, kids, let's go in the car, guys. Where we go?
Right. Kids thrive on structure.
You know
It's
what's,
like
the
I
proof of
just had
that?
a conversation about it, like where parents will be like, this woman said, "Well, I feel mean when I give limits and boundaries," and I'm like, in truth, you're being mean by not
That's right.
giving limits and
100%.
boundaries.
It's being cruel, actually.
That is right. You are doing a disservice to your child by not giving them limits and boundaries. They need that.
What do all kids insist upon when playing a game?
You follow the rules,
That's right.
right?
You're playing baseball, you don't run with the ball. You're
Right.
playing
Unless
basketball,
they
you don't
decide
kick
to
it.
change because it's not going their way and then they throw up a new rule.
Right.
But
Right.
sometimes that's okay. Like my grandson, we used to play Go Fish. Well, he's 18 now, but when he was much littler, he's like, I want to change the rules. I'm like, okay, let's do it. It helps with resilience and flexibility. So in his game, 3 and 9s matched. All other cards had to match their number, but a 3 and a 9 only matched a 3 and a 9. And so he's called 3 and 9. It was great. It was fun. That's kind of a great thing to do to help with a child who's less flexible. You know, add a new rule to something.
I
But
like
they're
that.
right. But they like to go by the rules when they're playing games. They're
That's
like,
right. That shows they want to follow the rules.
they
They want
do.
boundaries.
Exactly.
My father Shalom would say to me, and I penned a lot of what I've done based on my father said. He said, to a child, discipline is love.
Yes.
When a child feels directed and clear and is disciplined, knows right and wrong, they feel loved and secure. And it's really true. It's really
When a
true.
child runs rampant and nobody gives them any guidelines or boundaries, that you'll say, there you have an 8-year-old running around outside and no one's watching. They'll be like, why aren't you inside? It's bedtime or something. They'll go, no one cares. And the truth is, no one cares.
Who cares?
And they don't feel like anyone cares because no one does care. If they
Right.
cared, they wouldn't be running around by themselves in the middle of the night.
Very, very true. Very true. I've seen kids like that, and they're out all hours of the night, and they're craving for the parents to set them, and they're going to fight. The funny thing is, they fight, they rebel against the rules, but they crave them at the same
They do.
time.
Right.
So you can't
Because
give
it
in.
shows love, like you said. It
Right.
shows love. I
And
love you and I'm going to guide you and I'm going to take care of you. That is love.
right. That's people join the military for that. They want discipline.
Yeah.
They love it, and it's funny. It's called love like a drill sergeant, or love like a bubby,
Yeah.
a grandmother. Grandmother, oh, have this, it's okay, and all the wonderful
Right.
things, and spoils the kid.
Right. But
But
that's
love
your
a drill
grandmother.
right.
That is a special kind of love. It's like
That's
my
right.
father was all full of sayings. We always said we were going to write a book about the sayings that my father had our whole lives. And one of them was, better to be wanted for murder than not to be wanted at all. And as amusing as, and I know some people are probably thinking that was a slogan, but in truth, when you take away the murder part, It's basically saying that humans want someone to want them and care for them. Better to be wanted for murder than not to be wanted at all.
Right.
Nobody wants to be thrown away.
Well, you look at kids, when the kids a lot of times push parents' buttons to get their reaction.
Right.
And what
To get
happens is
attention.
you get attention. They get full attention. Look at
100%.
them. Maybe you're yelling, but you're looking right at the kid. And they,
Correct.
oh, I finally got your attention. They'd rather
Right.
be berated and yelled at than ignored
Yeah, exactly.
and be seen
Any
and
kind of
heard.
attention is still attention.
Better than nothing. That's right.
Exactly. I just did a training for a group of blended families, and we brought that up exactly. Like, you could be, your child's like helping around you, and you're like, go play. And then they go screaming, boom, you're on them, and they got 100% of your attention.
Right.
And it worked. It worked. That's the bottom line. Why do they do it? They
Because it
do
works.
because it works. It's like people say, why do they have tantrums? They continue to have tantrums because they work. People that work with me, their kids don't have tantrums. Why? They no longer serve them. They don't work. So if they don't work, they don't continue. But they continue simply because they work.
There's an old phrase in psychology, no behavior continues unreinforced.
Correct.
So my kids had temper tantrums, I'd fix those temper tantrums, and they never had it again.
Yeah. Decide what you want to show the attention to and reinforce, and decide what you want. So I
Yeah.
always tell people one huge change you can make today in your relationship with your children is start noticing, like we started, now we've gone full circle, the good your children do, the effort your children make, the effort that your spouse makes. Start noticing that and tell them you noticed.
Yeah, right.
It's a game
That's
changer.
right. Tell me
Yeah,
that's right. Very important.
Like how many parents will tell me, oh, they did really good this morning. I'm like, did you tell them? Oh, no, I didn't. Tell them. It's not too late. We get off the phone. I'm on a phone with a client and no one's interrupting them. And I said, when we get off this phone, you can go tell your children, thank you so much for letting me have this phone call.
Yeah.
Start
That's
letting them know you notice the effort they're making. Same with your partner. It's
yeah.
a game changer. It's a game changer. You'll see behavior change faster than lightning.
Yeah. Gratitude is a source of joy, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And appreciation. How many
Appreciation.
parents go, my kids don't appreciate anything? Gratitude.
That's right.
Well,
Well, you
now
gotta teach
we
them
have
from it.
answered all the issues of life. We have solved. See, guys, if you take everything we said here, take notes, you will have a different relationship at home. And
He's
if you want to reach out to Dr. Ben, go to, sorry, I should have said this earlier, beaterrificdad.com. See, he's beaterrificdad.com and I'm beabetterparent.com. All the same goal. You
That's right.
can be the best you want to be. Well,
Yeah.
thank you for being here. This was a pleasure. And as I told you yesterday, I was going to ask you, because we mentioned so much today, so much. I hope you're taking notes. And you can replay this and you can send this to your friends, because I know Dr. Ben and I both are grateful for you being here. So if you found it valuable, please share it. But if you would, either something that we already talked about or something we haven't talked about, is there one more thing you can help the listener understand about how important being a dad is and how important supporting the dad is?
I'll summarize it.
Okay.
First, a man has to be respectable. Walk your talk, be respectful, disciplined, etc. Values. To children, discipline is love, consistency. They feel healthy and they feel safe and secure. And respect, cultivate respect. And this part is on the wife, to give respect to her husband so that he can be even more respectable in the eyes of his kids. And they create better relationships. The relationships we demonstrate, we model, will set the tone for not just your children, but for their children's children. It goes over generations.
Exactly. Generations to come.
And we can create new, healthy, loving, constructive patterns for our offspring for many generations.
100%. Let's start. I always say, why do we have to assume that everybody has to recover from their childhood? Why can we not start being proactive and create childhoods that people can blossom from as adults
Right?
instead of just assuming they have to recover?
Yeah, the key to health. The key to health
Yeah.
is you have a healthy subconscious and give it to your kids of being a healthy dad. And there's obviously a lot more to talk about. We could go on for hours and hours on this.
We'll probably need a part 2.
Right.
So we'll do that on another day. But in the meantime, very grateful for you being here. Thank you. Again, beaterrificdad.com. You'll find Dr. Ben and you'll find him on this podcast. And thank you very much for being here. I'm very grateful.
You're quite welcome. It was a great exchange. And thanks for what you had to offer in this world. This is great.
Well, thank you. Good team. Good team. And to all of you, always grateful that you're here. As I said, share it out if you know someone else that can gain some insight and wisdom and help from this podcast. Please feel free to share it out. Comment, let us know what you think. And as always, guys, I wish you days filled with peace, love, tons of laughter. Really is the best medicine.
Very
Keep
important.
laughing. Stuff is funny. You're funny. Laugh at yourself. We do funny things. And I'll see you here next time on the Be a Better Parent podcast. Bye-bye, everyone. Thank you for joining me on today's episode of the Be a Better Parent podcast. I'm truly grateful for your time, your heart, and your commitment to becoming a better parent. Remember, you don't have to feel shame as a parent. You deserve to feel empowered and prepared for whatever challenges come your way, and that's what I'm here to help you with. If today's episode really helped and supported you, please feel free to share it with another friend or family member, another parent who also needs the help and encouragement today. And be sure to visit beabetterparent.com to explore all of the parenting services, our new app, our new community, and the resources that give you the ability to stay calm, stay connected, and stay happy and create that family harmony you're really looking for through all the stages and phases of parenting. You're doing an incredible job. Keep going. Keep being the best parent you can be, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye-bye.